All right. What are we doing? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, we can. Okay, perfect. Let me grab this. Go. All right. All right. All right. 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 What are we going to do? Okay. So, plans for tonight. We can work on. Let's see. Let's go that way. Yeah, that's better. We can work on our Twitch events, which we probably should do. This is. I've been thinking about how the null cloud's going to actually. We got to build an API that builds our deployment or runs our deployment. So that's what I was starting to think about. I was going to probably do this in Go because I'm probably going to leverage Kubernetes resources. And it'll probably be the fastest and easiest. It also gives me a little variety. We have a Go project then and a Kubernetes project. So I started to make this, but then I was like, oh, maybe I'll make it an operator with KubeBuilder. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it with Crossplane. Yeah, I don't know. So then I was reading about Crossplane, and I'm a little confused about Crossplane. Crossplane as a cluster API competitor makes sense. But Crossplane seems to want to be like a control plane as a service. And not necessarily Kubernetes as a service, which is the confusing part to me because what do they mean? And so then I was like looking into some of their things, and it's like, oh, you can get a Argo CD provider, but what is an Argo CD provider? And then I was like reading in their repo for their Argo CD provider, and it's like, is the Crossplane infrastructure provider for Argo CD? What do you mean infrastructure provider for Argo CD? I don't understand. I actually like I read these words. I'm not sure what it means. Um because at first I was like, man, maybe it would be cool to make the null cloud kind of leverage the crossplane if I can leverage it outside of provisioning Kubernetes, because I'm working on bare metal. Um, but I don't know. It didn't seem. Yeah, I don't know. I got a little confused as to exactly what it was. So I was doing some reading. We don't have to do any crossplane stuff today. So let's look up our Twitch alerts. Actually, let's go ahead and get that running. We finally figured out how to run Twitch alerts, so that was nice. Or run a way to test them, which was nice. Let's see. Oh, check this out. I am going to source. What is this? I'm going to source the credentials first. You guys should be proud of me. Now this is running on Twitch, but we can we can also do this. Let's see. What did I Twitch mock setup. So all this is doing, we can actually look at this, is exporting these as localhost. You know what it could do is at the end it could source and then it could just run the Twitch commands because it let's see. It's Twitch event trigger follow. That's the trigger. That is not what we want. 1 second. We want. What do we want? We want Twitch mock API. Let's see. I don't think we want to do start there because I thought we wanted to do something for the event. 1 second. I can just pull up the documentation. Ooh. That's interesting. Where's the there was like a local testing. Twitch CLI. It's under Twitch CLI. Test webhook events. No, not webhook. WebSocket. I do this. I do this. There we go. That's what we want. Now, if we run it, this should point to our local one. We don't print anything else out about that, do we? Let's see. Do we put localhost or the 127 IP address? Well, let's test that it's actually working. So we should be able to do let's see. So yeah, this is not working. This is actually listening to the real thing. Did we not source our Twitch mock data? Let's see. Did it connect? It looks. Yeah, okay. Maybe we didn't source that. So now, there we go, and this should work. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. It's pretty good. Okay. Let's open the project up. We need to open the project up. I do think that we need to work on our SQL, our squirreling. And one of the things is I want to build the concept of a user. Russell, good morning. Or good evening. I don't know why I said good morning. It's not morning for either of us. Maybe closer to morning to you for you than me, but good. Good. I got it all testing running here. So this one's running on the real data. This one's running on test data. So yeah, this is the test server running. I just re-went through everything just to make sure I understood. I actually have a question for you, since you're on. I was contemplating. So I've talked about the null cloud, and like I had. So originally, I was about to bust out some Go, maybe even do that tonight. That would take it would expose an API and basically make Kubernetes resources in a specific way for your user. That being said, with this, when I was thinking about that, I was going to just use KubeBuilder. But then I was thinking about there's a project called Crossplane. And, I know what Cluster API is. I've used Cluster API. And if you said that Crossplane was a competitor to Cluster API or a different Cluster API, I would say, like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But it seems to want to be the control plane framework, the cloud native control plane framework, which I was like, oh, that's interesting because I really want to build a control plane for my cloud. But everything that I read says that it's a Kubernetes cluster provisioner. But they seem to think that it's more than that. And so I'm thinking that I'm missing an important aspect of it. But then I went like through all their providers, and like each provider is like GCP, Azure, AWS, Terraform. These provision Kubernetes and infrastructure. And then I found some that weren't, like these Argo CD provider. But then like I don't actually know what an Argo CD provider is, to be honest. Because it says an Argo CD provider is the cross-plane infrastructure provider for Argo CD. This is words, and I understand the individual words, but all put together, I don't understand. Argo CD just runs in Kubernetes. If you provision Kubernetes, you don't have to provision infrastructure for Argo CD. Yeah, originally, I think it was more of a cluster API thing, a cross cloud control plane for Kubernetes. It just seemed to be more. It seemed like it was supposed to be more when I was reading on it, and I just. Argo does know how to deploy across multiple clusters. Yep. Argo runs as a control plane, and you can have a lot of child clusters. Absolutely. Anyhow, I wanted to ask your opinion if you knew, because yeah, I was starting to lay the groundwork. I was just gonna bust out a quick not an operator, but a custom resource. But it doesn't have a custom resource. It just operates on standard Kubernetes one. All it does is provide an HTTP endpoint and writes Kubernetes resources out. It's actually easy to use the operator framework because it gives you all of the hooks, so you can listen to when things change. It's not an operator like most people think. That's what I was just going to do really quickly with Go, because that's what I know and would be easy. But then I thought it might be nice to do something a little more real. Not that that's not real, but that was my thought. That led me down this path because, yeah, yeah. Anyways, um, other than that, I was gonna start working on some database stuff. I want to database this out. Um, and then the other thing that I wanted to think about was multi-tenancy. And what I mean by multi-tenancy is that when I run locally, I don't want to accept multiple users. But when I run in the null cloud, I want this single application to handle multiple users. You should be able to log into the null cloud and just start using this. There's two ways I can think of doing that. There's the easy way is you run a separate application for each person, but that's not the most efficient way. The most efficient way would be that everybody's using the same microservices and you've just partitioned the data, which is what I think I would like to do. But then I have to think of how this works when it works in both. I was thinking that we could make like a user service like we did with the AI manager, and we put in our own simple user service, and then in the cloud it calls a different user service. That's what I was thinking. That has user information. Yeah, that's yeah. And while we were thinking about that, I was going to work on the database because yeah, that's basically the biggest thing that needs to be done, and the UI. Um, did start on the UI. Let's see. Yeah, here's the front end. So this was just a timer. I remember now it completely broke when I was doing this. So instead of using Tari, um, I'm using U because it was working. And U is a little more familiar, although interestingly with this, it wasn't as straightforward as. One thing, I'm gonna have to go get a drink because I have a tickle in my throat. I'm recovering, but yeah, I gotta go get a drink. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, this doesn't connect to the back end yet. This is just the front end. So we can just run this. I can show you what we have. Oops. Oh, you know what though? We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that because we have our trunks. We have our trunks. I don't know why I was thinking about that. Let's see. Uh, what is it called? It was trunk serve open. Yeah. All right. It panicked. Server's already in use because we are running this. We're running this in multiple places. Let's shut these down. Stop it. This is the one serving on 8080. This is going to be inconvenient. We'll just change where our trunks serve. Awesome. This is what was happening with us. I don't know why, but all of a sudden this started happening where it just says loading. And we can look into this. Well, it's not loading. Let's see. Where's our console? So everything was working And then we got to where this started happening. And it's not even there was like a change in the code. And the weird thing is it happens even with the demo projects. So if we go to let's see, code, I downloaded the demos. There's you here, examples. We were basing our stuff off of the timer. And if we just do the same command here, it's also not working. I've not changed the code here, so something on my system has broken, but I don't know what. I forgot this is where we ended because we were on such a roll with you. I like you so far. It's kind of like Next.js. So I was a little bit more comfortable. I wasn't gonna have to stumble around it as much. So like, whether it's better than Yari or not, I don't know. Curl it? Oh, sure. But that's the thing, like it's not even coming up in like a console over here. Network. It just goes to pending. And if you look at trunk never says anything. And again, this is just the straight example that used to work. Right. This is just the demo code. No changes. Everything with trunk just seemed to stop working. Let me reinstall trunk maybe. I just installed it through Cargo. Let me just try that again. Probably should have stopped this, but whoops. And the weird thing was, it just all of a sudden stopped working. And I checked the port. The port is available. You saw it fail as well if the port isn't available. So it's binding to the port. It just doesn't work anymore. And it was working. And it was. I haven't done a whole lot with Rust web tools. I thought about just busting this out in Next.js really quickly because really it's just it displays the text for a set amount of time with an image. That's all it does. So like it's stupid simple. The only reason that I'm sticking with Rust is because I really want to make a thing that deploys this entire application, and I don't want to have to support Next.js and Rust in the first iteration. Just want to support one thing. We can do Next.js in the next. All right. Let's see. I wonder, let's see, if we can do like, maybe we need to do clean. We can try a different demo. Let's just do the counter. Let's see. Maybe we'll do tools. Let's not do open. We'll go there ourselves. Ooh, this actually took a little bit longer. I'm wondering if there was a tools problem. Interesting. Huh. I need to do clean -- tools. I wish I had known. That's a little frustrating. I got to that within like 30 minutes of playing around with you. All right. Fixed it. Let's get back to our code. Well, didn't fix it all. Maybe we need to do clean tools and just do a straight clean. All right, last thought was we do both. And then we do open or just serve. Now I don't know what it was because I did all three. Maybe the -- open is failing for some reason. It was working. The -- open, which just opened it to the side, which was really nice and convenient. All right, well then. One thing, I have to blow my nose. I am so sorry. Not the thing you want to say on stream, but I really need to. I'll mute you guys though. All right. Well, this was what we wanted to do. Basically, the reason we picked this was basically we want to show some text for a certain amount of time and then be done. And so that's why we're doing this. Now, the interesting thing here is I think this is correct. So if we jump back to the code, actually, let's open up OBS here. And yeah, so basically, the nice thing that's happening here, as you can see, is this browser source replaces the background with a transparency. So that's why it's awfully white, is we don't have to green screen. It's actually working on the CSS itself. So it's going to be really white because the idea is that it's going to be nothing unless if you have a subscriber. Then we play a sound, we print the text out for a set amount of time. All right. Although I suppose we could make the background black because it's just going to replace it. So that might be a good one. All right. So this is the demo. This is the U example for a timer, which is pretty awesome because that's pretty much what I wanted to do. Now, this is where U is a little different. This is kind of like the U way you make a component for your app. And in this function is where you actually render out the view with the HTML tag. This here, you have to actually handle your own messages. Whereas like React, you don't see the insides of React quite as much. But anyways. So I think we are going to do something like this. Let's see. How are we going to do this? We're going to be pulling an API for new events. There could be multiple new events. And if there's multiple new events, we need to just display one right after the other after the timer. So each time the timer is done, we need to see if there's new events in the queue and operate on them. If there's none, we can go to sleep and wait until there is a new event. So I think we need a new event message. New event. We need an interval that we pull the API for. So that message should just be like pull API. We don't have a button to start a timeout. We don't need that. I'm going to leave this as we go through the code just because this was the example code that we copied and pasted. Start timeout, start interval. We'll do the same thing for the start interval we do with pull API. Basically, we'll pull the API and then we'll restart the interval again. 30 seconds maybe. Actually, I don't know how often. I think in theory we should actually long pull. So basically pull and then as soon as there's a event, we re-pull again. But for initial ones, we'll just pull. I don't know if there's an easy long pull. Okay, so I think we can just delete these. We'll just delete these. That'll be pretty good at telling us where we need this to go. Okay, so we'll need this. Messages. I think we're also going to need a queue. Ooh, also, we are using AWS. I think the AWS Code Whisper has come a long way. Now we'll have to try it on some YAML files, but it has some interesting things that I really like. But yeah, I did get it set up, so that is going. Connected with AWS, Code Whisper is running. They also have this, run security scan. But yeah, Rust wasn't a supported language, so we'll have to test it on a supported one. But this is cool that they're giving you some extra stuff. And it's free for personal use, too. Which is better than Copilot, so it wins one there. How long will we show the message? I think it should be configurable. So I think that we should have some configuration backend, because I think the user should be able to configure that. So like I'll hard code it initially. I'm gonna hard code it to like 5 seconds. But like if we're doing this where we host it, it should be configurable, because maybe you have like a little GIF that you want to play instead of, you know, an AI generated image. If that's a 7-second GIF, then you might want it to take 7 seconds. So that's why I was saying we need to think about multi-tenancy a little bit with how we do our databases. I was thinking of that when we were doing this here. These things, these story segments, you know, we keep the ID of the person who the segment is about, but not the account. And then I was like, do we want to make another service that's all about users? Maybe. I don't know. We need to think about it. Or do we want to create just a table in here? But then it feels a little weird for the AI manager to know about users. So I'm thinking that's the wrong way to go. And then if we make it a separate service, the cool idea there is we could actually run different services if you're running locally as a single binary than if we do in like the enterprise, you know, Kafka multi-tenant solution. So that might actually be really cool, especially as like a demo of doing this as a whole thing. So that's just more work. Oh, okay. I need to get. All right, event queue. Yeah, we should have like a time amount. Actually, maybe we'll use this. It's a production license is free for personal use. That was my understanding. I don't know if it's different. Where's the pricing's up here. I kept scrolling down. So it provides code suggestions, reference tracking, and security scan. They get organizational policy management to set service policy at the organization level, such as whether developers are allowed to receive code suggestions that may be similar to particular open source training data. So really the only thing that seems to be different is the organizational part. And when I was first looking through it, there appeared to be no like, oh, if you make money using this, because I was like, technically I make like, I think my best month on Twitch is like $2.50, mostly to somebody who uses their Prime on me. And I was like, I don't know if that counts as like I need to start paying, $19. And uh pretty much it's like no, unless if you want these things, you don't need to. There were some requirements around it, but for the most part it was really generous. I'm actually like pretty happy with it. Another really nice feature that I like about it here is like if you it gave it a suggestion. You can actually right now use the left and right to cycle through different things that it thinks you might want to do. So if you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted, it has a couple suggestions. I've seen up to 4, I think, different suggestions for something you might want to do. Yeah. Now, what's the catch? I don't think it's quite as good as Copilot is. Um, I say that. I say that because I would say that it doesn't give multi-line suggestions nearly as often, but maybe its multi-line suggestions are more accurate. This is actually where I want to come up with some like really pedantic things like make a function that returns the current date of the user. It's making it all a comment. Oh no. Such a fail, Code Whisperer. Such a fail. Oh. Maybe not 80%. Let's shoot for 60%. But anyways, like that, I'm saying like I want to come up with a couple things we can try that are more than just a feeling, because I have a feeling that it's maybe 75% of Copilot for free. And honestly, if you were thinking about them, I mean it's free. So it's Copilot, or it's Code Whisperer that was commenting that. Because you can see you can see that its suggestion had the comment in it. So you can see here that it's in the suggestion. Also, another nice thing. Oh, okay, it fixed it. Another nice thing is you can tell it that you want. So like right now, it's not suggesting anything, and I can do Alt C, and it will come up with something. So there it went, and that looks good. Why does it start going with a comment? I have not seen that until now. I wonder if it was because this didn't have a semicolon. Both of these want, yeah. Oh, I bet you it meant for it to be done there. Oh, that's why. It just was not getting this curly brace. The other thing that I noticed about a month ago when I was testing this, and which is in my notes, is that it's better on other languages. That Rust is much worse than all the other ones. So I'm guessing that still holds true. I have, and now it's on Windows, so I'll have to get it on. I'll push it. I have a repository where I just did a bunch of little things, but I didn't push it to GitHub. Where I tried a couple different languages. So I tried Java, Go, C++, and Rust, because those are the ones that I can actually type. I don't admit that I can type Java, but I need to I'm thinking about getting like you know how like people beep out them cussing? I've been thinking about beeping out every single time I use the word Java. I don't know if that would be funny or offensive. I don't know if people would be angry with me or not. I thought it would be funny. Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much with it would work with Java and JavaScript. I would do both. Um and it would be amazing. But I don't know. It could be just like really annoying and like I don't know. Sometimes you think of those things and you're like, yeah, that's pretty funny, but then I don't know if other people would find that funny or not, or offensive, or childish. All right. It needs an event queue. Is Vector a good event queue? I don't think so. We'll leave it. All right. Let's see. This is the pull that we want to do. We want to pull the API. Let's see. Interval new, not 1 millisecond. Holy crap. We want to do this every 30 seconds. Wait. Okay, that's 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds. All right. And we'll send the pull API message. I don't think we want this, but I actually think initially I want a button where I can press the pull button just to see that it works. So I think I'm going to leave this with a button for that. All right, so we just have 2 messages. We just need to do new event message and pull API. You know what? We have a third message. When we're done displaying, do we need a new event? I think we need an event of like event finished. Because then we want to check the queue to see if there's more. Not sure. We'll see how that works. Okay, so we're creating it on update. We're going to see what messages we have. We have pull API. We have 2, 3. Okay, and then we don't have any others. We just have 3 messages. So we can delete. We'll just comment those out for right now. All right. So we have our pull API. We have our new event message. And we have, what did I call it? Event finished. Hello there. 1 second. I'm gonna do your name correctly. I'm gonna do it right. Candy miss? Do you miss candy? I'm sure I destroyed it. I'm sure that I destroyed it. Trunk is working. Trunk is working. Well, let's try. I'm just going to tell it to stop for right now. All right, so we have our new event message. We have our event finished. All right. Here we're going to pull our API. Thank you. Oh, those are the two examples. Oh, Code Whisper. We don't need any of this. Oh, why do we need to return? We need to return a bool? I guess, candy will do. I actually have Danish friends. It's nice to. My best friend growing up in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. Not gonna exactly say where, but basically not Columbus. So Christopher was Danish. Whereas his mother was. I mean, he was too. Anyways, doesn't matter. I say I have friends. Literally one. Literally one. So that was bad. Danes are the worst. Oh. Okay, I don't think we need any of this stuff. And we'll return true. I'm not sure exactly what true is for. This is part of the U update is part of the U app. So it's as you update. Yeah, I'm trying something new. Never done U before. This is a U application. So I'm giving it a shot, trying to build a front end, a very simple front end with U that has a timer and everything. So I'm using this timer library, Glue, which is basically a wrapper around JavaScript timer. So yeah. Yep. And if you're asking me why I'm doing this in Rust instead of doing it in Next, because honestly, this app would be done yesterday if I had done it in Next.js or React. And the answer to your question is that I enjoy pain. But more than pain is we have a really unique way of deploying this. So if you stick around, we actually have a pretty interesting idea here that's going to allow you to run this locally and run it like for real as microservices, but locally it's a single binary, easy to debug and track, whereas in production it's going to be microservices for each of the things, but it's going to break apart in the deployment process. So we have to build the deployment process too. So that's something that is next on the list. But this is actually pretty cool as it is. What we've done is this builds AI powered welcome messages for new followers and subscribers. And And so you get a custom message. Well, or will get a custom message when that happens, when it's done. It actually works. It's just not running right now. Will it build? I think it will build, even though the front end is broken. Yeah, it's working. See, it's working. I should keep that running. I mean to. Oh, I had to shut it down for the testing. Trying to figure out how to share data storage between two Docker nodes without clustering them. What type of storage? That's pretty simple, I think. I apologize, not to belittle any hair pulling, because the simplest thing, if you don't know it, can be impossible. Are you just saying that you're trying to share a file on the system? You should be able to mount the same path. I would just mount it into the. I mean, it depends on how you were wanting to do it. Maybe you have some constraints. If this is for like a dev local thing, not a big deal. And I don't know what you mean without clustering them. That's another question. All right. So here's our buttons. We want one button to pull API, one to do the new event message. I'll have to look at those things. Code Whisperer nailed it on this one. All right. I think all of these can just be set to false. They're not disabled. Let's start up trunk again. Let's get our trunks on. Code Whisperer needs its wins, okay? It needs its wins every once in a while. Though, if you asked, I think that it's better to be conservative, because I think sometimes that's the trap that Copilot gets you into. It says, hey, look at all this code that almost looks like it's right, but it's not quite. And you spend more time going back and fixing the places where it's not right than if it had just recommended one line at a time. Wait, why did you try to go to HTTPS? This is not quite what I expected. Cancel should not be right. I just set it to false. Oh, this is negated. I'm an idiot. There we go. Buttons don't do anything at this point, but that's okay. They're all plumbed. Does it tackle things like implementing from on two types with lots of fields? I don't know. Is that should be a good test, right? Do you think it can implement from on this? Maybe that's a little bit too big. Let's do an easier one. All right. Just trying to figure out if I can share an NF. Oh, an NFS mount between the nodes. Um, sorry. I think you should be able to just mount the. You just need to mount the NSS uh field. You just need to mount it on the OS first, and then you should be able to mount that into your container. I think, right? I don't have I don't have an NFS server running right now, or else I would test it out right now. But you should just be able to you should just be able to do like the Docker mount volume. So once you mount the NSS, you should just be able to mount you should just be able to do this. Right. So you just need to mount the NFS volume onto the machine and then mount it into the container. Right? So you just use the V flag. Right. Yeah, I'm trying to say the same thing as Russell. I think that should work. All right. So this is really funny. When it wants to be done, it just starts commenting. It cannot finish. It has finishing issues. Oh, it did actually want to do the generics. This is my fault. This is my fault. Let's see if it can't generate something. That's not really useful, but you don't want to talk about small home lab as overkill to me. It's probably not the best thing to do. Oh, it got the closing? What? What? That wasn't too bad, other than this awkwardness. I think Copilot would have done that better, but as far as things go, that's not horrible. The one thing is, it did struggle a little bit with this, but I think I was helping it. I was an enabler there, enabling some bad habits. So Um, as far as Kubernetes goes, I mean, it's not so bad running it as a home lab. I can power up the machines. I actually shut them down. That's something I needed to look into. My one machine was actually downloading a lot. The control plane was hitting the internet a lot. And so I shut it down because I was a little worried. A little worried. Um so we need to investigate. Maybe we'll investigate that some Thursday. I need to bring it up and investigate. Maybe it was doing the right things. Um and I know that I went through and upgraded all of those. So like I was looking at history from over a period of time on my network on my firewall. And so like maybe it was just the upgrade and everything because I hadn't patched them for like 3 months, and so like there was quite a bit there. So maybe everything is fine. I was just a little worried because it was like 10 gigs. And I know that like my site gets hit about 100 times a day, but it shouldn't have been 10 gigs of stuff. Um, yeah, when you run Kates for work, but you don't need scaling and stuff. It seems easier to just making Docker nodes. Well, that's what I was worried, Russell, that the null control plane was talking to a command and control server, but just not my command and control server. I was just going to get all your nodes are belong to us at one point, and that's what I was worried. So I just shut them off. Like I literally was like, nope, you're going down. So like it's not up anymore. You can go to null cloud right now, and there is nothing because yep, I was like, nope. I don't know. So we need to investigate that. We need to investigate that. All right, this is working. This is working. Honestly, this is pretty much all we need to do. We need to expose an endpoint now. We need to make an API for this thing to hit. That's actually in this development model. This is something I need to think about. We can't do it today. How do we expose an API? Do we do the service mesh route and say everything that gets deployed from the API manager to the Twitch API is exposed in a service mesh? So any HTTP endpoint gets automatically exposed through the service mesh? Or do we make you, and I'm actually leaning towards this, make you make for each application an API project. So basically, make an API project that exposes you, like that has a special declaration on it that says this is the API. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things to answer with our brand new deployment method model, but we'll make mistakes and we'll learn from them. All right. The other thing that this front end is going to have problems with, technically, locally, it will still need to pull the back end. It will just be a back end. Okay. And then never mind. That doesn't even make sense. We don't have an endpoint to pull, so we can't do that. But what we can do on the pull API, since we have a button for it, we're just going to enqueue a new thing in the vector, in the event queue. I can go power mine up and show you. Give me just 1 second and I'll go turn them back on. All right, they're booting up. All right, yeah, there we go. If they booted all properly, this should work now. Although this takes a little bit longer because all of Kubernetes has to boot up. And all of the cert signing has to take place, and there's a lot of stuff that has to happen with the handshake and everything. So it does take a little bit of time. So yeah, see, not everything's up and running quite yet. It will take a little while for stuff to come back up. So I do something a little unconventional for my servers. I found something that I really, 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 really like. So you don't need to buy the laptop. You don't need to buy the laptop. All you need to do is buy their main board. Okay? I didn't get the AMD ones. I would love to have an AMD one. But these are mobile CPUs. They sip power, are ultra quiet. And all you need is this and a power cord. And I got mine for a lot cheaper because basically I got mine when the next generation came out. And so I got them for like half the price. Yeah. See, like the 11th gen, when the 12th gen came out, I got the 11th gen. I think I got mine for like, I want to say that they were 300 each for the top of the line one. I think of power costs too, and I understand that European power cost a lot more. I do understand that. Your gas costs more too. but I really like these for servers. That's actually what I use. And there we go. We're up and running. All of the things happened. I'm actually pretty proud of the resiliency this thing has for being a home server. I've done an entire full disaster recovery. I need to do it again and record it because that's one of the things I want to do for a video. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Russell, you're so salty. Oh, you guys did watch. I love how Twitch held it for bullying, but showed it to me, but it thought you were bullying me. But you did watch me trash it one day. So Denmark is not mining Bitcoin, is what you're saying. Oh wait, this is not right. We're just gonna put a string in there. Eventually, this probably needs to be a complicated object because it might store an image or a GIF or something, but or like a link to one. But we're not doing that right now. It held the we watched you trash it on stream once thanks to Argo. It thought you were bullying me. It seems to be really sensitive. Really sensitive. But yeah, it had a message just saying that it thought you were bullying me with the message. So like it didn't save anybody because yes, I did trash it on stream once. I've trashed it twice. You guys didn't get to see the other time. All right. This is a new vector. Okay, with string now, right? We changed it to string. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So what we're going to do is on the pull API, we're just going to oh no, I don't think that you are, by any means. Let's see. This is a message to display to the users. Oh yeah, I did mean self. That would help. Oh yeah. I will not confirm or deny whether I pay 6 cents per kilowatt hour. I cannot I will not confirm or deny. I think it's actually like 6.9, so almost 7. It's pretty rough. Pretty rough. You probably hate me because I also get on to my kids for leaving the lights on, and I have LED lights. Like they sip power. But I grew up with my dad yelling at me about the lights. So you better you better not leave that light on. It's going to cost me, 5 cents if you left it on all month. Maybe 6 or 7. All right. I think I need to then also call the new event message. Shoot, and I deleted all of the stuff that they had to do that. So let's go over here and see what they did to do that. Uh, yeah, Candy, you also got moderated. You deserved that one. I also deserve that one. We do have pretty cheap power though, but I did switch out all LEDs, so I was kind of annoyed. I spent a decent amount of money on getting all LEDs to save power, do my thing, and then like half of them burned out on me after a year. 41 cents? Man, that's like California prices. Shoot. Shoot. Has it been rough since the war in Eastern Europe? Has that made it worse? Like I have only imagined so with like the energy natural gas and things like that. Um UK is roughly California. Probably, I know that housing is also like. I know that you guys don't have a ton of land. Housing is pretty expensive. Um, Honestly, like you see people in like California that get paid like 350,000, and you're like, oh, that's so much, and then you're like, oh, but the cheapest house is like $4 million, or you drive for 2 hours to get to the office. That's it's ridiculous. Your power bill went up because of it. That's actually one of the things that, and I mean, like, it's one of the things that, it's this. It's this. The U.S. is generally really sheltered about. Um, those types of things don't hit us as quickly. It has hit us. Prices have gone up over stuff. Um, so we need to do this interval new. Your heating bill is still the same. That's good. That's good. Um, we also don't use gas, although gas is actually probably a little bit better here than electric. Where unfortunately, one of the reasons I try to use as little electricity as possible is one of the problems is where I live. Most of our power is coal. We have a decent amount of nuclear at this point, but we still have a lot of coal. So I try to limit my use with LEDs and keeping the house cold in the winter and warm in the summer. But I don't actually want to call a new interval. I just really want to update. I'm not sure I actually want to do it this way. I was thinking that, like, can we just do link.send message? Do we have to use the interval? Let me. Yeah, the US has always had pretty cheap energy. Um, in the early 2000s, late 90s, there was I mean, we've always had a lot of coal. We've gotten a lot off of coal. People think we're more dependent on coal than we really are. We have a decent amount of nuclear, but it's kind of been unpopular as of late. I'm hoping that gets more. Just north of me, we have some of the world's largest wind farms. One of the problems that I live near a forest. So, one of the problems that's different between Europe and the US, um, and makes it a lot more difficult, is that we're really spread apart. We're really spread apart. And so, you know, we have like the population of Germany and France spread up across 3 Europes, or I don't know the exact size. Um, Not a lot of people spread out across a pretty big area for the number of people that we have. Yeah, stealing wood. Wow, I did not realize that wood had gone up that much. I guess I just say that because some things are a little bit more difficult. It's like I could never not have a car because my parents live 2 cities away from me, which is a 6-hour drive. And I can't afford to just fly to go visit them. People in Denmark turned off the heating because of the prices. How cold does it get in Denmark? Because my heating turned off on me last winter, but it was negative 15. Freedom units, which is like negative, really close to negative 15 Celsius. I don't know what the conversion. 1 second. That's not true. That's not true. It was like negative 26 Celsius. And my heat died on me. And that was brutal. That was brutal. Okay, so it gets pretty cold then. Minus 15 Celsius is no joke. I find 0 Celsius to be not that bad, but negative 15 is. So this is getting the context from here that we're passing in. We're building a new interval, and we're using that link to call send message. Is that a function that we've made? 1 second. I need to make. I need to see. No, no. This is part of the U framework. This send message. Yes. So I have to actually say, I was super lucky. Our power still worked. Our heater just died. Um, and so we had a single space heater, which is not a whole lot, and we put that in the basement. We built a fort around the TV and the Xbox, and me and the kids ate snacks and played Xbox for like 2 days because in the fort it was like I don't know Celsius, maybe like 10 degrees Celsius. It was a ton of fun. I admit that I'm lucky that it worked out that way. Because like all the roads were frozen over, so if we had to go somewhere, it was going to be a dangerous trip. But we were lucky, happy about that. We ended up enjoying our time. Dude, New York is dreary. I don't like New York. Every single time I'm in New York, it's wet and cold. It's just, ugh. New York and I don't like New York City, anyways. But outside of New York City, I like it in the summer. I think we can just do the link.send. I think we can just do this right here. But they assign this. Oh, okay. So they assign this to handle, but I think we can just do this. Clone the link and then do link.send message. I think that's all we have to do. That's what I'm going to try. Let link. And I can just do a good old this would be a new event message. Boom. And then here, we need to update the DOM. Let's see. We need to post like what the message. You mean the compression ZFS? I went there to go see I went to see a lot of stuff. My parents, I was homeschooled. We had to go to see like a lot of the historical stuff in both Boston and in New York. Um, and so like yeah, there's all the immigration and Statue of Liberty, and you know in Boston there's like the stuff around the Freedom Trail and those types of things, and those are cool. The coolest thing I got to see La Misera on Broadway, and that was really awesome. That was amazing. Oh, like the storage. I have oddly a lot of experience with Btrfs because that's what SUSE picked. I haven't used a whole bunch of ZFS. I also used the ext4. ext4 just has a lot of support. Do we do something like this? Current. I don't know what I'm doing right now. And then on new message event, we do oh, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Not that. Code Whisperer. Shame on you. Okay. So we get a new event message. We set the current message to the new one, and we need to set a event finished to clear it out. So basically, this is where we need to actually do what they did the last time. Let handle equal that. We'll say let's do 3 seconds for right now. And this is going to just be link dot what was it? Send message. No, send message. With event finished, done. Close that off. Oh, so they do this so that it's cancelable. I don't think that we need it to be cancelable, so we're not doing that. It's going. Candy. Candy, candy, candy. Was this running? It was running. Candy, you get to see the fruits of our labor. In the land of Rust, Null formed freely. One day, Null met Candace Miss, a young and ambitious Rustian. Candy was eager to learn more about Rust and its quirks. Rust doesn't have quirks. ChatGPT, you failed us. There's no quirks in Rust. Null offered to be their mentor, showing them the ropes of Rust. Together, they embarked on a journey, writing code, debugging errors, and building great things. Null knew that Candy would one day become a great Rustian, spreading their knowledge and passion for the language far and wide. Thank you for the follow. One of these days, that will show on screen. That's what we're trying to do right now. And I like the Dungeons and Dragons. We need to update it where right now the prompt for the generation is not that good. Not that good. We need to work on that. We need to do a little AI tweaking. All right, on event finished. What we need to do. Sorry for the sniffles. Sorry about that. I'm working over a cold. Wait, you pressed follow and Autobot gave you 4 warnings in chat? Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Moderation tools don't like me. You can ask me about my struggles with YouTube, with Twitch. I don't know what it is about me, but I struggle with them. No, it's me, dude. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. Moderation tools don't like me. I don't have anything set up to, like, yeah. Self.current message equals from shrink. Perfect. So we're just going to reset that. And then we're going to do if. What we need to do is check if there's any more messages in the queue. So event queue dot is empty. Is not empty. If not this. Can I do this? Can I do that? Let link. Come on. There we go. There you go. Link.send message, new message. Yeah, and then that's just going to run here. Okay, beautiful. This should work. All right. This should work. Oh, no, we didn't change the names, so I have no idea which button does what. 1 second, let's do that. New event. Pull API. We don't really do anything with pulling API. Event finished. We don't need this button at all. All right, so pull API is going to create one for us now. Not working. So on click, we're calling pull API. On pull API, we're going to We're going to push one to the... Oh! Automodded gets very zealous. Very. It doesn't like you guys for some reason. I think Autobot is secretly in love with me. It's an AI that has gotten sentience. And it's secretly in love with me. I need to actually display it. I'm not displaying it. Actually, I can just delete all of this. And this is self.current message as string. Beautiful. Oh, does it go away? Does it go away? We said 3 seconds, right? Candy, thank you so much for joining. I super appreciate the follow. It doesn't go away. I have failed. I stream on Saturdays. Should be a little bit earlier for you. Oh, timeouts cancel and drop. Oh, dude, please go. Please go get some sleep. Yeah, have a great week and thanks for joining. Okay, so I think it said to use forget. Either call forget or drop explicitly. Ah. Let's do this differently. So originally they were keeping it around. Where was that? They were keeping it around by assigning it to the interval so you could cancel it. We decided to throw that away, got bit by it. All right, there we go. Now, and it goes away. That's exactly what we wanted. Awesome. We can't actually interact with this, so this doesn't really help. Okay, so all we have to do now is get a thing to pull. So we need an API. So I need to think about how we want to do the API. I think I'll probably call it quits tonight here because I don't know. Do I want to... How do we want to define the API? Do you have a good idea about this, Russell? My thought was just make a new project that was an API. Oh, GG. It does seem like the appropriate short message. Allow you to pull new events. So I guess we have this nice flow where we're listening. Let me actually draw this out so it's straight in my mind. Oh, I can delete this. We have the Twitch event listener, and it's listening, and then the AI manager gets an event, and now the AI manager pretty much just takes that and stores it in a database. But how does it get to the front end? We have a front end now that is like the client side. But now we need something that basically you can pull it for new events. Now, how do we define new events? I don't know. My thought is, except that this needs to run as microservices, I would say it's a WebSocket, but WebSockets suck with microservices, and I don't want to do that. It feels very message queue-y. I know. But that means if we do that, this thing is getting so complicated for a stupid app. I mean, this is still super simple, this part, but this is just, I mean, this is always what happens with microservices, honestly. So what we really need is we need another thing here. New. So basically the AI manager needs a new event called oh, I actually already have it here. Never mind. Maybe I was already thinking this. We have a new topic subscriber event, and this is a service in the back end, and the UI now web accepts push. You mean I can push from here to here? You're saying push from the server to the UI? That's a WebSocket. I didn't want to do that because then okay, I'm now confused. What's sick in mouth mean? I've never heard that before. So I was thinking the UI would pull because that would just be easy. But it's not that easy because even if we have this service that back here that has a just a I was thinking an HTTP long pull. So basically this is a, you know, when it these things are event sub. So either Nats or Nats looks really cool. I think I want to try using Nats and not Kafka. I'm already using Kubernetes, so I don't mind that it locks me into Kubernetes where Kafka doesn't. And yeah, it seems to do everything Kafka does, but might just be easier in Kubernetes. Oh, it's me saying I'm not really. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't like shared DB. I think in a microservices, a service should have its own database. I'm pretty picky on that one. Oh, sick and oh, is that how you say? Okay, I have never heard that. Oh, okay. I got it. Cool. Cool. I learn something new every single day. Now, the thing is, this feels really dumb, this API service, because it's only serving one thing, new events. The only reason I think it doesn't sound dumb is you don't necessarily need the AI manager. You could have some other things that process on this that then gets to this. So I feel like exposing the AI manager with an API is the wrong way to do it. The other thing that I wouldn't want to add to the AI manager is if we hit this directly, this was my thought. How does it know when there's a new event, when there's a new thing that it's listening to? The idea here is that, you know, if you just got all of the events, that would be a huge long list, and the UI doesn't want to get all of those. It just wants anything that's new from now. I think we do this, even though right now it means making a service for exactly one endpoint, which seems really dumb. And then we just do long poll. Honestly, though, because we have a event sub, we could do microservices and webhooks. Do we want to do that? Maybe we do. Maybe that would just be a cool demo. We can stick with long polling, and then we can do webhooks if we feel adventurous, because we could just put you know you know, show UI. We could put like in the topic we could put the account number. And so when this listens, it can listen for a specific account number. And so any UI listening for that account number, this API service would register to listen for that account number. That gets interesting with multi-tenancy. Oh, right. So far, this front end right here is just a front end. I tried to name it appropriately. I tried. I know it's the worst name. Front end. Okay, you understand now? No. I mean, like, honestly, this feels overkill, but this whole architecture feels like overkill because it could just work as it is like this. So I think maybe this makes sense here. Just going with how we've gone with it, where we're architecting a local app and a distributed app. It's actually been more challenging than I thought it was going to be. Usually when I say that you can write it, like, I've always been a big component of like, oh, you can write it both ways, and you can write it where like you can break it up in the future. I don't mean that it actively is broken up and not broken up at the same time. I just mean like you make good logical choices in like your interfaces and your objects and your separation. So it's been fantastic to actually think about no. It can compile like this and it can compile like this. So I actually think everybody should do this as just a mental exercise. Yeah. Now, is it making it take longer? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. So our front end is done, except we need an API. So we'll make an API. Right now, APIs are easy. I mean, I am done for the night. I am just going to push it. But then we make an API. We get to the nice thing about making another API is we get to do this thing that we did again. We get to make that interface. So we get a hang of what that looks like. That was kind of my idea is like, and what I'd like to do with the null cloud is basically build that framework. Oh, did Whisper test some more? Oh yeah. I got it. Yeah. I think that we could framework it so that like you build and test and debug locally this way, and maybe the thing that deploys it will need to annotate some things like I think these Kafka things should actually be generated, honestly. I don't think that you should ever, in our first go, I have this Kafka thing here, but I don't actually think that you should write Kafka or Nats or any of those types of things. And so I think these things should like be generated for you. And I think that if we can solidify how we want to do it and how it would work, we can get to a pretty good first implementation. And then I'd like to like actually implement it in the null cloud where it's like I expose an API where we have, the microlith command line tool, and you go microlith deploy, and it takes this and it deploys this to the null cloud by hitting the API. So yeah, I think CodeWhisper passed a basic thing. Macros and or traits. Right. I think maybe a lot could be traits. I would prefer to rely on traits if we can avoid macros. Macros are more magical, and you can obviously traits have their limitations, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm anyways, we'll work on the API. We got a little bit done on the front end. It was good. Thank you very much for joining. Have a great week. I'll see you later.